My name is Kelden Zatha, and I hail from the penitential regency of Reedsaris. My homeland was at war with the Free Palatinate of Durwood, a place I have come to in search of a better life with this group of settlers that I currently travel with. I don't plan to settle down. I don't settle. I find what I need and I move on. I'm no farmer or merchant, though my father was. He had lived his life as a trader and we lived modestly. I was too young to take part in the war between Reedsaris and Durwood 15 years ago. I'm 26 now. My father fought against the people I'm currently traveling with. My father believed in the Divine King's living vessel and followed the fanatics in the Saints' War. And my father died. He was a fool, though I still have fond memories of him. But now I don't believe in what he believed. My mother remarried a few years later. How else was she to look after my two sisters and I? My new stepfather was an ass. He was fat, and he was drunk, all the time. But he had the means to take care of us. He didn't like me, and I didn't like him. On top of that, he was about as fanatical as my real father was over this religion of Eothas. He had two sons, both a few years older than me. We didn't get along either. They bullied me, and I tried to stand up for myself. I received many a bruise and bloodied nose for my efforts. Needless to say, when I became a man, I couldn't stay there any longer. Eothas is the god of renewal and light. They are supposed to be a good people who follow him. I believed all this at first, until we received the news of my father's death from a neighbor who returned without his right arm. After that, I questioned faith. I questioned the fanaticism, because my world was torn apart since then. Nothing was the same. The people seemed deluded. I saw this in them, especially in my stepfather. I love my mother, and I love my two sisters, but we must all move on at some point when we outgrow the nest and are clearly unwanted. I was in the way. I had no place there anymore when I was 18. To help, at least my stepfather gave me some coin to speed me on my way out. I left to join a small nearby mercenary company that was replenishing their losses. They wouldn't be there forever, and I had my chance. I was able to pay for my weapons and my armor, but I didn't know how to use them. I spent the next 6 months traveling and training, but seeing no action. There was no fighting anymore. The war was over, and for a time bandits had become a nuisance, and then they too were taken care of. I was too late. The money wasn't there anymore. The mercenary group disbanded, and everyone went on their own way. But I had a gift. I didn't know it, but I'd always had this gift. I could see people. I could see their souls for who they were. What I had back then was a spark of something that, if trained, could lead to great things. I had always sensed who people really were, but could never read them like a book, not like now. These people who were trained to use this power are called ciphers. Fortunately, before the mercenary group disbanded, there was this older cipher, the only one among us. It was he who recognized this gift within me and agreed to train me to use this talent. He became my master. I spent the next 7 years training as his apprentice. He had nothing but praise for my skills by the end. He died, not from battle, but from disease. In the last few weeks of his life, he sent me away once it was confirmed he was among the inflicted. I see him now as the father that I wish I had. Patient, stern, stoic, but true to himself. He saw the world without illusion due to his powers, and he treated it the same. Of all the things that I learned from him, all the training to focus mentally, the ability to see things as they really are, is my most powerful strength, and the greatest gift that he gave to me. Now I travel in Durwood, the lands of the enemy, not my enemy, my people's enemy. They've banned Eothas out here, at least in most parts, but I don't care. That's not my god. My god is to make coin, and to be content, if I can be. I'll need to find what makes me content because I really don't know myself. I don't see a life living as my fathers did as making me happy. My master would never tell me what ails me, never see into my soul and look into my eyes and tell me what the problem was. He could see it, I know that, but he would hide it from me. He didn't believe in letting life's secrets be known before one was ready. At least this is what he would tell me. So, what to do? What do I want from life? I can only say that it's become what my master taught me to be real and not fake, to endure and not be a fraud. Too many are. All those from Reedsaris who fought in the Saints' War. Too many take from others and don't realize that they are only covering up what's missing inside. That hole can never be cured by taking from others. It only creates more pain. Pain that keeps people taking and taking, because they cannot see what the cause of the problem is. But I can.
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
The caravan master finishes addressing the group, his bushy red mustache and sagging jowls quivering as if for emphasis.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you were planning a stroll through those ruins up there.
He nods toward a looming black mass on the hillside.
Whole area's crawling with hut-dwelling types who would be happy to stick an axe in you for trespassing. So mind that you don't track mud on their sacred blazing rocks. Tonight, everybody stays put, and in the morning we'll get the path cleared. Gilded Vale's less than a day out. Understood?
At last, the caravan master turns to you, frowning as he looks you over.
Touch of the rumbling rot, could be. There's a stinging beetle round here, carries it. You'll be fine once it passes your innards, unless you don't drink water, course, which case you'll be dead in a day.
Lovely.
There's a berry grows in these parts, small and pink, called a springberry, about the size of a fingernail. Give you cramps if you eat it, but the frontiersmen make a tea from it. Calms the insides. Should get you through the night. You might check around, see if you can find some. Meanwhile, I'll see if we can scare you up some water. I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker, but see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
He nods in my direction. Sparfo nods and slides the worn bow over his shoulder. We have to find these berries then. Otherwise I could be left behind. Where would I find these berries?
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
What are those ruins?
Nothing you won't see on half the hills of Air Glonfoth. Money to be made selling their knickknacks in Defiance Bay, if you don't mind getting stuck with Glonfoth and arrows now and again. They didn't build them, but I'll be the effigy if they don't watch them like a mother bear.
Typical. Religious.
Of course, all the ones around here have been ransacked 10 times over. Got nothing left worth half a pawn, so I hear.
He adds, with a wink. So who did build the ruins?
Got different names for them. Settlers called them Ingwithans. Nobody that liked them enough to stop them becoming ruins, tell you that much.
Is it dangerous out there?
Not if you hurry about your business. And not if the weather holds up.
There is concern in his tone, but he does not elaborate. What kind of weather do they get out here?
This time of year? Rain, mostly, and wind. But there's a different kind of wind out here time to time. Locals call it a beowick, born out of the ether, the spirit's path. Never seen it myself, never care to.
Say, what are those huge rocks coming up out of the ground?
They don't got Audra where you come from? Well, it just grows up out of the ground like this. Goes deep like tree roots. Some of it all the way to the heart of the world, you believe the stories.
I don't believe many stories.
It's more like a shell than a proper rock. Easier to work if you're a mason. Got all kinds of strange properties. Seems to have some kind of life of its own. Dies if it gets dug up. Loses its luster. Folks think it probably grew at one point or another, but not these days.
How strange.
The soul butchers in Defiance Bay use it for different things. I've heard tell it can hold a man's soul, but I don't care to see it. Got enough to worry about without seeing something like that.
I wonder if I can... If it can hold a soul, I wonder if I can pick something up from it. I'll go see about those berries then, and I leave.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot, not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
He scans over the travelers, resting his eyes at length on a sturdy, armor-clad woman who has spent the journey's night sleeping on uneven ground without blanket or pillow.
Kalisha. Kalisha!
The woman looks up on her own time.
He needs to find some springberries. Watch that he doesn't drop dead.
No promises.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Kind you can afford.
I'm used to it.
Don't listen to her, you're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything. Off with you. Hayden should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight. If it's a Beawick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
I'm unafraid of these locals. His Odema's small grin recedes under his mustache, and he is stern once more. A sudden sickness has come over me. The caravan masters urge me to make a remedy before my condition worsens. He suggests a certain tea, brewed with local berries, should cure me. Sparfell has gone to fetch water from the river, but it falls to me to gather some springberries. Odema says they grow on a distinctive bush. The Gilded Vale is said to be one of the most prosperous villages in the Deerwood, full of opportunities for work and wealth. I was told they're offering land to new settlers. Not that I'm going to become a farmer. But new land opens up, new troubles, and that's where I would like to be.
You heard the man. Let's get going before you keel over.
I'm no thief. I would like to look at these stones, though. These tall glass green pillars appear as if they have sprouted from the earth. The flickering fire sets shadows dancing within. New land. New places. New territory. New climate. There's some fungus. But that's not it. We need berries. The fallen tree doesn't budge. Sap oozes from the jagged wound in its
Not
trunk.
looking forward to trying to lift that thing tomorrow.
Well, that's a little suspicious, I'd say. I hope they get the water soon. Nothing so far. A deer. There's a body over there. Travelers, maybe, or looters, or bandits. Bad sign, any way you figure it. I'll examine it. The corpse is cold to the touch, and a ripe smell wafts from its putrid waves. A dark, crusted bloodstain besmirched its simple linen clothing. It's a second body. This one has lockpick. And leather armor. What's that? Is that a symbol of those religious fanatics that live around here? It's some kind of mask on the tree. At least it looks like it. No, it's not. I think it's some of the local wildlife. It glows in the dark. More bodies. These are older. They're skeletons. I haven't been this far west. I've been in the Durwood several times. Not this far west. Listen to me. I'm sounding afraid. I shouldn't be. Although it's nighttime, I'm sick. And I haven't seen the berry tree. The berry bush. Well, if it's not up here, I'll have to return to that bridge. What's this? Is this it? Burned lady.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's check by those outcroppings.
A wolf. It's killed a deer. Can we take it? Let's try. I hit it. And it hit me. Is it worth it? Well, the bush I think that I'm looking for is over there. But I'll check this wolf. I can take its hide. And this deer, that's for the...
This is it.
For the ants to eat. And the birds. Springberry. You look like you've seen your share of action. What did you do before you came out here? I was a blade for hire. Yeah? How is it you happened to come here? Well, let's just say I don't have the most sparkling of reputations at home. Here I'm anonymous. Well, we've all got things we'd like to leave behind. Gods know I do. I'll tell you that. Here's hoping they never track us down. Kaleska breathes in her surroundings. Been a long time since I've been this way, but I always did like it. Lord Redrick's offer makes a girl think. I'll give him that. You here to settle like the rest of the lot? Not as a settler, but it's hard offer to pass up. You won't find many others like it in these parts, believe me. Got some big plan in store? I don't plan to be a farmer, but I'm going to settle here and start a new life, yes. Well, who knows? Redrick pays well enough. Maybe we end up neighbors. Anyway, I'm wasting time here. Odema will give me an earful. Let's be on our way. Why are you here? She sighs unevenly. Her eyes search the ground at her feet. My sister moved out here, some time back. She sent me a letter. She seemed worried, but that's how she always is. This time, though, she asked me to come out, and that got me a little worried. I haven't seen her in ages. Been doing guide work in Ixam Mittel. But I'd do anything for her. She's a much better woman than me. So I'm here and we'll see. Odema I've worked with before. He doesn't usually drive a route this way, but he's doing it for me. Tell me about yourself. I've got simple needs. I like open skies and far horizons. I find work that lets me live that way. My family wanders too. We started in Durwood, but my parents ended up in the Living Lands. I've got a brother in Ruate and another in Adair. My sister in Gilded Vale. She's the only real homebody. What can you tell me about Durwood? I'm not much for history, but from what I know, it used to be part of the Adair Empire. Broke off after a war some years back. The locals here are feisty, and that's how they like it. I've been out of touch. But I've been hearing weird kinds of things about it lately. People having trouble giving birth, I guess. A lot of them. Been going on for years now. But somehow it's getting worse. With an uneasy tremor in her voice, she adds, I'll have to ask my sister more about it. Alright, let's get back to camp. You know, I wouldn't hold my breath that Sparfell's getting you water anytime soon. He does what he feels like, when he feels like it. We should check up on him first. Slap him around a little. Stream's just down that way. Come on, let's go get your water. Yeah, it figures. I don't know these people. Not that well. There's another bush. And what's this? This path winds through a narrow canyon, back the way you came. Grooves in the
Shouldn't stray too far.
grooves in the road mark the passage of hundreds of caravans. And anyone who stops here gets killed by the fanatics. It would seem. But maybe they'll think twice about seeing the size of our caravan, especially with so many of us armed. This is Kelden. You see a man wearing a simple but mostly neat clothes. He's transfixed, however, by a ragged tear in the seam of his tunic.
Brought a whole wagon full of goods to sell, but not enough shirts for the road.
He shakes his head and laughs when he notices you. He scratches one cheek with his knuckles. It's covered with uneven stubble, as if it hadn't gotten quite used to shaving on the road.
Say, is there anything you need? I've got some basic traveling supplies for sale if you'd like to take a look.
I've heard the caravan master call him by name, but I don't know this man. Who are you?
I'm a trader, originally from the Adir Empire, but I've been trying to establish new business out here. Life on the road has brought some unexpected challenges, to be sure. And I'm sure you've noticed how prickly the locals can be. But we're here to make the most of things, right?
I've noticed it. 4 bodies to the south. If you think these caravanners are prickly, watch out for those axe wielders Odema mentioned. He laughs. That's excellent advice indeed.
Something else you need? Looks like we're settled for the night.
Tell me about the Adir Empire.
It's not as big as it used to be, but it's still big. The mainland is a continent northwest of here, but the colonies used to include Raed Saris and the Deerwood. About 150 years ago, Deerwood won its independence from the Empire. A fact our companions are quick to remind me of.
Why'd you move all the way out here?
Because it seemed friendlier than Raed Saris? My brothers took over the family mercantile business a few years ago, and there wasn't enough for me to do back home. I moved out to try and expand.
He shrugs. Deerwood is a former Adir colony, so it seems like a good place to start, and as much as I admire the Raed Saris work ethic, they've always struck me as a little fanatical. Sounds reasonable enough. Out here, I'm just taking it one day at a time. Let's see what you've got. Well. I picked up leather armor. I'll have to wear that. And my cloak around my neck. And Kaliska is wearing her wolf armor. As for weapons, well, I'll have to compare the two. But that'll have to come in the next video.